commentary on Mark Neumann and statements that he has made linking Scott Walker to excessive spending in Milwaukee, lumping Walker and Barrett together, when everyone knows that the truth is that Walker and Barrett have been totally opposite public officials in Milwaukee, that Scott Walker has been the guy who has single-handedly made it a mission to try to hold the line on taxes. Neumann knows that, but he's running around the state of Wisconsin making statements to the contrary. I called Neumann a liar for saying it because Mark knows that it's not true. So as I said, I'm willing here to blow the whistle on both sides. It's time for me to blow the whistle again. Mark Neumann is lying again. And I'm going to tell Neumann, even though I have respect for him and I like him, if you run your campaign for governor telling lies, I'm calling you out on them. If you want to run a legitimate campaign and you're convinced that you have a chance of winning, and by the way, no one I know thinks he has a chance of winning. No one. I don't say he has no chance of winning. In politics, you can't ever say that. I'm just saying that nobody that I know thinks he has a chance of winning. I would say it's probably 65-35 Walker's race. 2-1 chance of Scott Walker winning. That'd be my own guess. Nonetheless, if Mark Neumann wants to run for governor and make the compelling case that he's the best option for conservative voters and Republican voters in Wisconsin, he has every right to do so. And the people who have been trying to convince him to get out of the race are well-intentioned. But the fact of the matter is that in this country, if you want to run for public office, you have a right to run. Anybody can put their name on the ballot. Anybody can throw their hat into the ring. And he has a right to run. However, as one particular American citizen and one commentator and one talk show host, I have a right to assess the candidates. And my advice to Neumann is that if he wants to win and get the support of Republican voters, he ought to do it by commenting on the issues that people care about, not running around and lying. And he's lying again. And the form that the lie is taking is an indication, again, of just, I think, over cutesiness on the part of Neumann's campaign. This is the sort of thing that I suspect that some incompetent staffer on Neumann's campaign told him to do. What they've been doing is sending out emails to a vast mailing list that they have. And by the way, remember when Neumann was handing out those petitions, delivering these anti-healthcare petitions to Gwen Moore? You know why he did that, don't you? You don't ever know anything nefarious. You can never figure anything nefarious out. Why do you think he did this thing? He collected all these petitions, don't vote for health care, and dropped them off at Gwen Moore's office. Why did they go through that charade? He wanted to get a database. He's got everybody's name who signed the petition. He asked for email addresses and the whole thing. What, you can't imagine that Mark Neumann would actually run something like a little scam like that to get the names of supporters? I don't actually have a problem with him doing it. Anybody who has a problem getting an email from someone may as well go back into the last century. They sent out emails to this massive database that they have. And here's where it's just so cute. The email doesn't come from Neumann. The email comes from a volunteer for Neumann. But guess what? They use the names of a zillion different volunteers, but the email is identical. I know this because many of the people who've gotten this email have forwarded to me, and one of them will be from one volunteer and another one from another volunteer. I'm wondering, A, does the volunteer even exist? For example, here's one from somebody who claims her name is Brittany Cohen. And she leaves the email address at brittany@markforgov.com. Now, Brittany's a little liar out here because the email's got a lie in it. Now, Brittany may say, I didn't really behind the email, I just put my name on it. Brittany, if you're going to put your name behind something, when you work for a candidate, you're responsible for what it is that you're saying. And then I hear, holding here, I've got another one. This is from Derek Ellerman at markforgov.com. Don't know if Derek's a real person or not. He might be a fake also. Maybe they're real. Derek's real. Well, Derek, you're telling lies too. Now, here's what the email reads. We are increasing, and this is being said, they're carpet bombing Republicans all over the state with this. We are increasingly hearing a rumor that because of Mark's recent and continued insurgence in the polls and the mass defection of his donors to the Neumann campaign, Scott Walker is going to switch to the lieutenant governor ticket and support Mark Neumann for governor. They're just making that up. There is no such rumor. Scott Walker is not planning to drop his campaign for governor and run for lieutenant governor. They're just making that up. Now, the question is this a harmless little lie, or is it a lie? Here's how we have to evaluate this. If the lie is so ridiculous that no one would believe it, is it still a lie? What's your answer? I don't know. If I say it's Friday, and I'm adamantly telling you it's Friday, when everybody knows it's Thursday, am I lying? Well, the Neumann people will have to decide that. And Mark Neumann, who is running a campaign for governor that is becoming increasingly hard to justify based on his apparent desire not to do anything positive other than run around and make ridiculous statements about Scott Walker, we'll have to determine that as well. Because everybody knows there is no such rumor. You tell a lie when you're running for a Republican office in a contested race. Guess what? I'm going to call you on it, Mark. Now, as I said, I suspect that some twit campaign advisor told him that this would be, let's send out an email saying we're hearing that Scott's going to run for lieutenant governor. Isn't that cute? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It's so childish. But it's also not true. If this rumor is indeed being heard, I'd like them to tell me where they heard it. Right? So, let's call them up, Paul. No, we can't put this on the air, unfortunately. We're not allowed to do that. But I'm going to call the Neumann offices here. Do I still have to hit 9? Yeah. Calling the statewide campaign office of Mark Neumann. Do you know where that office is, Paul? It's in Pewaukee. I'm going to ask for the names of some of the people who wrote the emails, see if they actually exist. Phone's ringing over there. Mark for governor. 2 rings. I'd think they'd have somebody in after 5, wouldn't you? Guy's running for governor. Yeah, what if I was a fundraiser? What if I was a campaign donor? No answer. Of course, they may be listening on the radio right now and screaming at each other, don't answer the phone, too. They may, in other words, be pulling a Jim Doyle. Recording. Hello, thank you for calling Mark Neumann for governor. Please press 0 to make a voicemail message. All right. Press 0 and it's ringing again. They said press 0 to leave a voicemail message. Now the phone's just ringing again. Oh, here it is. Hi, this is Mark Belling at WISN Radio. Our number is 414-799-1130 or techcarriers.com, toll-free 1-800-838-9476. I'm calling for Brittany Cohen, if that's a real person, or what's his name? Kellerman. What's his first name here? Let me dredge up his life-filled email. Derek Ellerman, if he's around. I'm wondering if either of them or any of you over there could tell me exactly where you heard this rumor that Scott Walker is going to run for lieutenant governor, or if you're just making that up because you guys are lying in your campaign for governor. So if either Brittany, if she exists, maybe it's a fake name, or Derek, if he exists, or anybody else who wants to speak for Mark's campaign wants to call us back, we'd be happy to put him on the air. Bye. Don't say I don't try to get to the bottom of things.